Thank you, Phyllis. So as Phyllis alluded to, Ben Knapp was the founding executive director of ICAT, and Ben left to become dean of the College of Arts, Media, and Design at Northeastern University. The thing I gave him was a handbook to Boston driving. I'm hoping he will start studying it soon. There's a chapter on pedestrians that I think he needs to study closely. So, and Lisa and I, as Phyllis said, are the interim co-executive directors. So I think the co and the interim can be flipped around. We're still working on that. So.
Yeah, I'm leaning toward co before executive. Yeah.
All right.
Okay, we're so glad that you're here. Sorry, okay. I'm working on my vision these days. Please keep coming, and this is a general schedule of what you'll be seeing this year. And the playdates are really fun because of donuts and coffee and socializing. I always say that when I decided to become a professor, the whole thing is I thought, well, I'll just be able to go to work every day and live the life of the mind. I'll get to see all the cool things that other people are doing. And, there's a lot more like work in this job than I had anticipated, but these Friday playdates are a lot like that. So here's just the lineup of things that we'll be featuring. And so, like I said, coffee, donuts, and then you have somebody talk for 20, 25 minutes, and then questions and more socializing. So these are many of these are seed grants. And if anyone here is on a team or is going to represent these, please raise your hand as I call them out. So enhancing living environments. Is anyone here from that team? A lot of our teams have faculty from AAD. All of our teams have a faculty member or a student member from different colleges and schools. That's our baseline rule for interdisciplinarity. ICAT Tide Pool. Who's here from Tide Pool? Eric Lyon? Great. Uplifting livelihoods of indigenous peoples in Sri Lanka. So like I said, these are seed grant recipients reporting on what they've done or what they're doing. CHCI, 30th anniversary. And actually CHCI, how many people are here from CHCI? They have an amazing membership across the university. All their events are fun and fascinating. AI accessibility. Okay, that is a project about AI and increasing accessibility, especially for sight impaired people in tourism and other spaces. Toy Spear. Okay, no play date, fall break. Okay, Open the Gates Gaming. Thank you, Gustavo back there. Breathing life into McKettry's tomb. Iman, anyone? I'm asking people to raise their hands so that if you're interested in any of these, you can talk to them afterwards. Designing technology to support hospital education. Immersive virtual environments and sustainable art painting. No play date again, yes. Metacognitive systems thinking is going to be the last one of the year. And then we'll have a whole new schedule in the spring.
And then, as Lisa said, most of those playdates are from seed grants that we funded last year. We just awarded the fiscal year 25-26 seed grants. They started July 1st, and here's the list of those. So Reimagining 1001 Arabian Nights, Calm AR, Demystifying Quantum Education, Drosera Obscura, and then Flying Squirrels in a VR arena. And for those of you who've been around long enough, we did Flying Snakes about 10 years ago, so we've, and Responsive Sound Space, Rooted Design, Shaping Architecture Through Engineered Growth, and Synchrony and Musical Performance. And like I said, these are the new seed grants that just got awarded, so expect to see a play date from them, not this year, but next year.
Okay, so seed grants, funding. We have a few deadlines coming up pretty soon. October 6th for our mini seed grant, which is for faculty teams, remember, across colleges and schools, so not within the same college or school. That is due up to 6,000 October 6th. Also on October 6th, Roger and Debbie West support a student grant that's up to 1,000. We have a senior fellows group that helps us review all of these. It's a little bit of a process, so if you have any questions, please ask us now and submit on time and look into those. The larger grants that we give are due on February 2nd. The major is up to $25,000, and also, again, same base rules of across colleges. We also work with the Sue Duncan Innovation in Agriculture seed grant, and sometimes we even combine. Another thing that we do to kind of increase the size of the pie, is the way Tom says it. We all have to divide up the pie. Let's just get a bigger pie, right? We kind of go out with our 10 cups to other colleges, other departments, and say, hey, do you want to partner? And then we put together a call that specifically connects a couple of colleges or units. So anybody out there who might be interested in doing something like that, please let us know. And in the past, we've been able to do that partnering with ICTAS, partnering with CALS and the Duncan Innovation Award, partnering with the Innovation Campus. So we have lots of those examples in our past too that we can talk about. This is still me. Okay, now we're going to go on to larger events. We have an emphasis on the university community and also the community outside of the university. On November 15th is the Virginia Tech Science Festival. Our lovely Phyllis Newbill is in charge of all things Virginia Tech Festival, and she has a really great crew, and they've got it down to a science. So this, thank you. It takes place in the Art Center and the Newman Library. It's free to the public. We have lots and lots of kids and buses and people from the community, and it's super fun. This is also a great opportunity for your students, your undergraduate students, your graduate students, if they have a project that's ready for the public and it's interactive. This is a great outreach opportunity for them, and then also largely faculty teams are the ones who present at this event. So please mark down this date, and we are trying to get exhibitors. And if you have any questions, let us know, and then please make an application. She's okay. Oh, okay. She's the only dog. Okay. Also through the Center for Educational Networks and Impacts, our outreach educational center, CENI, is Hokie for a Day 5th grade field trips. These are a blast. They're sort of like mini science festivals. And again, interactive, several tables or booths. We have faculty teams and student teams present their work to 5th graders, and so much fun. By the way, 5th grade is a really critical age where we start to lose people, particularly in STEM disciplines. Again, please sign up. These happen almost every Wednesday of fall and spring semester.
We also have the New Music and Technology Festival, which will be September 30th through October 2nd in the Cube. If you're interested in finding out more about that, contact Kyle Hutchins, and the webpage is also there. It'll be featuring several different performances and exhibits. One of the other things that ICAT's been working on is an initiative called ArtX, which is the Art Research and Technology Exchange. Thomas Tucker and Megan D are going to be going to Ireland. I think I saw Megan wave. So, for residencies and Thomas just found out last week, can I say this? Oh, it's here. That he got a Fulbright to support this work. So that's really, really good news for Thomas. And then in the spring, ArtX is going to host visiting scholars from University of Galway for an exhibition at Open at the Source. And there's an exchange with EarCam and the University of Oxford with the new music and technology festival that was on the previous slide. In terms of, for folks who don't know, Virginia Tech has two different types of institutes. They're thematic institutes like the Transportation Institute and investment institutes. ICAT is an investment institute. So the university provides funding to ICAT. We're supposed to turn around and give it to faculty and students. The seed grants is one example of that. So in fiscal year 24-25, last year, we supported 258 faculty across campus. And about 30% of those were in the College of Engineering, 20% of those were in AAD, clause was 13%, and then smaller fractions in other colleges. It supports things like course buyouts, summer salary, the seed grants that I mentioned. We also supported 154 students, either through involvement with the seed grants, wage positions, or we have several graduate assistants. So this is just meant to show you in terms of how the investment coming from the university is going back to the faculty and students. And what we're really looking for with that investment, all these seed grants that we're showing you, our intent is for the faculty who are from areas on campus where external funding is the norm, the intent for the seed grants is to do preliminary work that can be used to get more funding from outside. But we recognize that's not true of the whole university, of all the colleges. So for faculty who are from colleges where external funding is not the norm, it's meant to support things like international recognition, international exhibits. And I see Paula here. I'm going to pick on Paula. Paula just had the IAWA exhibit in Venice this summer. And very, very early on, I think we gave you a small seed grant at some point. So, and Paula went around with a tin cup after that and managed to get it all the way to Venice. So.
There's the lunchbox for the football team. Maybe we need a tin cup. So one of the ways that we try to increase that pie and also expand the different kinds of people who are involved in ICAT is through our centers. And we have 3 centers that we're working with today. And Center for Human-Computer Interaction, Ryan, raise your hand, please, again. They, again, are having their 75th anniversary celebration soon. 75th. Never mind. More. Into the room. 30th. Still, that's pretty old. That's very impressive. So Center for Human-Computer Interaction, they have a great membership of faculty across the university, and also they're building their student membership. And please come see us at Gobbler Fest this afternoon from 3:30 to 6:30 or 7 or midnight. It's long. We'll be there under a tent with CHCI and Engineering Education and ID Pro together. So Center for Future Workplaces and Practices, Ralph Hall is the interim leader for that this year, and is increasing the breadth and also a focus that Tom will talk about a little bit next. Center for Educational Networks and Impacts, I've already mentioned a couple of times. Sorry.
Jake, wait.
Oh, Jake is hiding in the corner, and so is Gary. Thank you. And Phyllis. Please call Senny if you're writing a grant proposal and need an outreach or education piece, or if you would like to do educational research. They are the experts on how people learn, how people think, how can we be reaching more learners. So please reach out to Senny for that.
And then ICAT is also the new home to the university just made an award to Sarah Parker at the VT Carilion School of Medicine for the Destination Area 2.0 initiative on human systems integration in healthcare. That's going to be financially housed in ICAT, but it's several colleges at the university. It's going to be working closely with the Center for the Future of Work. And like I said, that just kicked off in July, so it's a very early initiative. Ben has talked about this before, but Ben and Lisa and I have a National Endowment for the Arts research lab project called Da Vinci's Cube. We just found out a couple weeks ago that we're getting a second round of funding for that, which is very good news, particularly given the current funding climate, federal funding climate. So we're still working on the paperwork. I saw things going by from OSP yesterday, but expect to see a presentation from Lisa and I sometime in the next few months about the continuation of that.
Okay, so I mentioned communities. We're working a lot with Southwest Virginia. We're working across Virginia and in regional and national, and always expanding even to international. So some of the spaces that we're working with in Virginia include the Taubman Museum of Art in Roanoke. We have a regular schedule of exhibits and installations there. David, is that 75? Okay, numbers. David Franistich, I don't know if Tanner is here, but we are working on helping Taubman with some of their installations for their 75th anniversary celebration. The Science Museum of Western Virginia, I need to point out Sunny and Phyllis again. We have a connection there where I mentioned if you have grant proposals, we can really help with outreach all the way down from like a little field trip for Hokie for a day to an installation at the Science Museum. And we have one of those that came up last year and two that we're working on now, right? And then the Torpedo Factory is in Alexandria. It's a great space where artists work out of their studios. And we also have an immersive space there, and the Amazon and also the Innovation Campus building. There's an immersive studio there that we work with them to have installations. And Amazon headquarters too, we have a series of maker type workshops, and all of those are possibilities for seed teams and other ICAT affiliates to spread their work.
And then, just as one very local example, most of you know we have a facility called the Cube over in the Center for the Arts, which we share with the Center for the Arts. In the last few years, we've done 97 Cube projects over the last 5 years. We've had 2,800 participants come through there and 20 different Cube residencies, just as an example. And now multiply that out across all the spaces that Lisa was just talking about. Phyllis is standing up. That's it. So, and really this slide is a repeat of everything we had over the last few slides, but we really like the imagery. But basically, what ICAT's trying to do is build a transdisciplinary community, both on campus and off campus, make connections throughout the Commonwealth, across the country, and around the world. And we do that through a variety of different methods. And we'd really, if you have ideas of how you'd like to work with us, please come talk to Lisa and me, and we'll point you in the right direction and try to make it work. And sometimes we won't be able to make it work right off the bat, but a big part of what we do is matchmaking. So you come to us with an idea. What I'd like to say to people is, if you can do something entirely within your own department, do not come talk to us. But if you span college boundaries in particularly, and some colleges are more heterogeneous, so some cases even within a college, do come talk to us. We have several examples of people who come talk to us and their initial idea wasn't quite a fit for ICAT, but we put them together with somebody else and it turned into something great. So please, we'd like to find a way to work together. And as Lisa said, right now, particularly with the federal funding situation, it looks like there's a lot of zero-sum games around campus. We're trying to get around those zero-sum games by making a bigger pie and making a bigger sum to help people out. The other bit of news is we recently moved the administrative offices of ICAT, and by recently, I mean this week. So we are now in the media building, which is straight in that direction. It's the old Blacksburg High School, I believe. It's directly across from the farmer's market. So Lisa and I are there. Kasha, Gustavo, Rodney, Dylan, David, Tanner, Holly, and Melissa, we're all sitting over there. We're upstairs on the second floor. Holly, what's the suite number? Do you remember the suite? Is it 202? 202 is the suite number. So the 200 suite. Got it. Thank you. I just go up to the top of the steps and make a left. So, and then that's all we have in terms of PowerPoint. Have a great semester. Thank you for coming this morning. A quick shout out. I've got several of my students from Intro to ECE, so they're getting a double dose of me. Like they'll see me at 10:10. Faculty, I would encourage you, please ask your students, tell them about the Playdates, particularly if there's a Playdate topic that lines up with your course, and we'd love to see them here. So.
Can we advertise who's next week?
Oh, yes, I will put that back. There's a better way to do this. So we have plenty of time for questions, I believe. And so next week is going to be enhancing living environments. So.
Great. Thank you all. Let's give them a round of applause. So we do have some time for questions. What questions do we have in the room? And if you're, sorry, I forgot to say, let me come where the camera can see me. If you're online, we welcome your questions as well. There is a button somewhere on your screen that says submit a question, and we'll get that. There's a little delay, so be quick. What questions do we have? I need
Hi, thank you so much for this presentation. It's really good to see all of this stuff at one time. I have a question about the major seed grants that were just presented. I saw a lot of names up there that I'm familiar with, so that's really excited. I was wondering what the percentage was of the applicants that you gave major seed grants to this year. Out of all the seed grants, how many people were awarded those? And you might not know that, so I'll email if that's not off the top of your head.
So is the question, Melissa's got her hand up, so.
Melissa knows the answer.
Off the top of my head, I think there were about 35 applications, and we funded that many. So, yeah. About a quarter, maybe, is about our acceptance rate. And one thing that people may not know unless you've been through the process with us is sometimes we don't fund these in their entirety, because we can look at them and say, oh, you don't need this in your budget because we have that and we can loan it to you, or we can help them navigate, and so we'll pull a little bit of money to be able to partially fund a few others.
Yeah, and Melissa alluded to something that we try to do. We try to fund as many as we can, and so what often happens is we may not give the full 25,000, and what we try to do is cut some down so that we can, and then as we joked about the 10 cup, if we find something that maybe somebody else is interested, we go around with a 10 cup and try to partner with them so that we can fund as many as we can. But Melissa, I'm sorry, did you say there were about 30? 30 to 35 is what I'm. Yeah, and we funded 8, so that's about a 25% hit rate.
So thank you very much. I have a question. I'm a faculty in the Department of Mathematics, and I have been working within ICAT and with many of our colleagues on research grant. I had actually a seed grant also. My question is about for people like us, we don't know very often about possibilities of funding coming more on the side of arts that we can team up with people. So our collaborators often do, but is there any, I don't know if there is any plan maybe to familiarize also the faculty outside of School of Visual Arts and other more arts departments with possibilities of external funding resources that we can team up with our colleagues from other departments?
Sorry, I'm not quite sure I understand the question.
Are you saying, are there external funding sources that you can partner up with people outside of AAD?
So for us, for example, the classical source is NSF and other,
Yeah.
but I know that in the arts very often, or in, it's like lots of foundations and a lot of private funding, national centers for humanities and so on. I'm not familiar with those sources, so I would like to learn more about what they're funding and what are the possibilities to team up.
Yeah, if I understand your question, I think it's a question that a lot of us are asking right now. We've as a university, I can confidently say we've really depended a lot on federal sources of funding, and I'm sure that a lot of people this year or already have started to look for maybe partnerships with companies, with industry, and with foundation, private donors, and that's definitely one of the things that ICAT is always trying to do as well. One of the things that I would love to add to our plate when we have time is some kind of sharing of what are people doing, what directions are we going in next that are successful and that we can collaborate on instead of compete with. And I don't know if I'm answering your question. I think I hear your sentiment, and if we get together, we can talk about the PIB also, and how we could possibly collaborate more. And so that is central to our mission. Sorry, I don't have the answer though.
Thank you guys for the presentation. I was just kind of curious what the Da Vinci's Cube was.
Sorry, I didn't say very much about that. So the question is, what is Da Vinci's Cube? So the idea of Da Vinci's Cube is there was a model of scientific research from back in the 90s called Pasteur's Quadrant. And it's often used to try to describe what happens with innovation and new products and new services. But as we thought about it, we realized what it didn't take into account was sort of the human-centered aspects of innovation. So the appeal to people's emotions, the appeal to people's senses. So we've extended Pasteur's Quadrant. We added an axis that we call contemplation of sentiment to try to capture these notions of appealing to people's emotions, appealing to people's... Yeah, David is pointing at me to actually go to the slide. Hang on. Probably. So we've added this axis here for the contemplation of sentiment to try to capture that. And what we did in the first phase of the project is we were interviewing people in industry, particularly in the design industry and areas where people think about how people are going to respond to the innovation. And in the next phase, we're trying to take what we've learned from those interviews and turn those into a set of tools for both individuals to find themselves on the cube, companies to think about how they identify talent, and particularly arts and design related talent, and for academics, for universities to think about how to better provide education that matches up what students are actually going to need when they graduate. So that's a great question. And thank you, David.
We are at time, so I want to thank everyone for being here this morning, and hope you'll be back next week for more coffee, donuts, and great conversation. And many thanks to our presenters as always. Hope you all have a fabulous weekend. See you next time.